channel. I'm Natalia, a certified Pilates instructor. Today's video, I'm going to share something a little different than posting a workout. I want to share with you all the things that I have learned since becoming a Pilates instructor. So these are not things that I learned when I was training, these are things that I picked up along the way after I qualified and when I started teaching. And I just think these are points that are kind of important to share, because I reckon that if I had known these things, I think my journey would have been a little bit easier. And yeah, these are just things that it was like trial and error, just things that I picked up as I was starting teaching. And I definitely wish I had seen a video like this before. So if you're interested in potentially becoming a Pilates instructor, or you're just curious to know what it's like, then make sure you watch this video. Let's get started. Before we begin, just please make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this with someone who might be interested, because it really does help me out a lot more than you know. So tip number one, and this is something that I realized when I was doing my course, is that you never stop learning. So what I mean by this is, once you do your course, your qualification, so a bit of background actually, it took me about a year to qualify. I had to do 2 practical exams. One was where I had to teach a bunch of students as well. So I had to teach a class for 30 minutes. Then I had to do another practical exam, which was a 1-to-1. I had to do 2 written exams. I had to do 2 essays. One of those exams was an anatomy exam, and I also had to do at least 100 hours of supervised teaching. So this is where you teach a real life class with supervision, so with someone that's really established, experienced, and someone that's been qualified for a while. And then after that, you kind of gather with that teacher and you get your feedback, and then they sign you off. So that takes about 100 hours minimum. And this is how it works in the UK to be a mat Pilates instructor. So once you do all of that work, you are qualified to teach just a kind of a standard healthy person with no specific injuries, no medical conditions, no equipment, by the way. So this is just for your mat Pilates. So I kind of didn't realise that. Maybe this was super naive of me, but I didn't really realise until I did my teaching, and after that, oh my god, there's so much for me to learn. So since I have qualified in that level 3 basic course, I have done extra courses. So a course on osteoporosis and osteopenia. I've done my bar course to teach bar. I've done just several other courses, my equipment course as well. So now I'm qualified to teach reformer as well. But there are so many courses after you do that basic course. There's so many things that you need to learn. So just bear that in mind, that once you've qualified in the UK anyway, I can't really speak for other countries. I don't know what it's like in the US as such, but in the UK, once you've done that course, there are still some restrictions. So you're not allowed to teach a pregnant person or someone that's just very recently had a baby. There are things that are going to restrict you. So just bear that in mind, that once you've done that qualification, you can teach most people, like, don't get me wrong, but there are going to be certain groups of people that you can't teach until you've done that further training. Which leads to my next point, that being a Pilates instructor is expensive. So that's my point number 2. I didn't really realise this either, which again is probably quite naive, but I didn't know how expensive being a Pilates instructor is. So like I say, you do your main qualification, which cost me actually about £3,000, and like I say, it took me a year. That wasn't everything. I did have to do make extra payments as well for certain courses within that course, like certain study days where you go into the studio or the school even, and you have certain like days and things that you have to pay for on top of that. But the actual course itself was £3,000. So after that, you obviously have to pay for all those extra courses that you do. So for me, for example, my reformer qualification cost over £1,000 as well, and that was after. So that's already a fair amount that I have spent in my training. Fair enough, it's not like super expensive, it's not crazy, but you know, it does come at a cost. Also, just bear in mind that you are paying for insurance, public liability insurance. You have to get a first aid qualification as well in the UK. Most studios probably won't accept you if you're not first aid qualified. You have to also pay for equipment. So if you're running your own classes, you know, it's quite handy and it's quite nice actually to provide that service where you provide the bands or the Pilates ball or the magic circle. So all of that comes at a cost as well. Also, if you're running your classes, you have to pay for the venue. So you hire hourly and then you kind of make your money after that. So once you've done all your marketing and whatnot, that's your profit. So that's how it works in the UK. So yeah, just bear that in mind that being a Pilates instructor can be expensive. Also, I know for me, when I first qualified, I had to do like advertising. I did a few like Facebook ads, paid for some leaflets, which is super old school, but I ordered leaflets and then did the whole door-to-door posting through letterboxes. Advertising my classes, but all of that does cost money and it's time consuming, so just bear that in mind. Point number 3 is be prepared to be flexible and to learn to adjust where necessary. So what I mean by this is you may have planned a lesson, but it may not work for the client or the group class that day. So clients can be really tired on a specific day. They might have been extremely stressed out from work, or they might have just had a bad day, or a new injury might have popped up that you didn't know about until they literally turn up to your class. So definitely be prepared to change your lesson plan on the spot and to adjust and be flexible to your client's needs, because at the end of the day, they're paying for the service. So it's up to you to provide a good service, right? And this isn't something that I really was necessarily taught when I was training. So I was kind of told or taught to create a 6-week lesson plan and to have that pre-done, and then to teach those 6 classes, so to teach that block of 6 classes and to kind of sell my classes in blocks of 6 as well. And that way I get where the logic behind that, because you kind of teach that 6-week lesson plan and all your clients can progress through the 6 weeks, and you can kind of progress certain exercises to make them harder week by week and to challenge your clients. But I don't really do that anymore, to be honest. I take it week by week. I figure out who's coming to my classes first, and I then sort of create a lesson plan. And it's very, I don't want to say basic, I still take a lot of time to create my lesson plan. I do spend time doing it, really thinking about it, writing it down on a spreadsheet. But I definitely don't spend as much time as I used to when I first qualified. I have my basic lesson plan. I kind of think about the exercises that I want to teach, and it's kind of just like this or that, see how it goes, and then I turn up to the class and I ask how everyone's feeling, and then I kind of adjust the plan if I need to. So if people are tired, if people have slightly less energy than usual, or if people are just not feeling very motivated, I definitely sort of mix it up. where necessary. And I just think this has worked a lot better for me as a teacher, but also for my clients, because it just shows that I am listening to them, listening to their bodies and their needs. So when they need necessary changes, I am there very quick to just think on the spot and to come up with a new exercise sequence. So yeah, I would definitely advise you to learn to think quickly and learn to change it up where necessary, rather than to create a 6-week lesson plan well in advance that might just not be appropriate in that moment. Yeah, that's something that I learned along the way. Again, it was trial and error. It was me spending hours and hours at the start planning this 6-week lesson plan, and then I'd get there on the day and some of my clients were just like, I can't be bothered, or I'm so tired, I feel pain here, I feel pain there, and it didn't work for me. So yeah, this is just obviously, by the way, disclaimer, this is obviously just my experience. Everyone's experience is probably different. This is just what worked for me. My next tip, so this is tip number 4, and that is to find a schedule to suit you and make sure you avoid burnout. Now let me tell you about me. So when I first qualified, I left my job the very next day. So I had an office job and I handed in my notice the very next day, which is a little bit crazy. I don't recommend doing that, to be honest, because it then just left me, in essence, unemployed. I then had to work really hard to apply to venues, to start promoting my own classes. Like I say, I started handing out leaflets or putting them through people's letterboxes. I was like, right, I need to make this work because I need to make money. I need a job. So it meant that I put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself. When I did get all these job offers, I just accepted everything, which meant that I was working Monday to Thursday every single evening. I'd get home at 9 p.m, sometimes 9:30. A lot of the time I would then wake up before 6 a.m. to teach a really early morning class in a studio. And let me tell you, I'm not a super early person. Like, I like my early mornings, but I do not like getting up before 7 a.m, to be honest. So for me, this was like really difficult. My work-life balance was not great at all. I, at one point, would work 6 days a week and sometimes 7 days a week to cover classes and just to get my foot in the door, to get to know people. And yeah, I was so tired, just drained. I definitely would say that I was on my way to burnout. Like, I got very close to burnout and just having absolutely zero energy. So I would advise you to think about what kind of schedule you want to follow. I would even think about it before you qualify. So just think to yourself, I'd like to work mornings. If you're a morning person, oh, I'd like to work Monday to Saturday mornings but have my evenings completely free. Or you might want to mix it up a little bit. I don't recommend doing a 40-hour week of teaching. It's just too much. You're going to be so tired. I get that that's what everyone else does in their office jobs. Everyone else has that 35 to 40-hour week. But when you're teaching a class, it's so different. It's just not the same as sitting at a desk all day. Yeah, I get that. That's hard as well. I'm not saying that. Don't come at me. I'm not saying that a desk job or an office job is not easy. But being a Pilates instructor, you need that energy. You need to be super happy. You need to be bubbly. You know, your activity levels are high. You're demonstrating classes. You're walking around the class. You're keeping everyone upbeat, trying to keep everyone happy and motivated, and it really does take it out of you. I know for myself, like a 3-hour session, so like 3 classes in a row, is enough for me, because by the end of that 3rd hour, I am knackered. I'm cream crackered, honestly. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing any more than 3 hours at a time personally, unless you have a level of energy that is up there. I don't know, unless you're super, super energetic and have all the energy and you can handle it. I personally do not recommend doing such long hours in a row. And just also bear in mind that you're not just teaching, you have all your admin alongside that. You have to take time to do extra courses. If you decide to go online a little bit like I am, like posting videos on YouTube, that takes so much time as well. It takes hours to film, to create a video, to think of the idea. So just factor that all in and create a schedule that is going to suit you and that's going to not lead to unnecessary stress and burnout. My next tip is to obviously be super professional, and to be fair, I learned this in my course when I was studying to become an instructor. They gave me like lots of really good tips on how to be professional and how to interact with potential clients and existing clients. And they did also kind of advise us to be super nice, professional, but also be firm. And what I mean by this is make sure, especially if you're running your classes, to have a cancellation policy in place. Make sure that people don't take you for a ride, basically. You know, that people don't just not turn up to classes and then expect to just come to a class the week after, which they haven't paid for, or you know, whatever your policy that you've got in place is, just 100% make sure you stick to it and don't give too much leeway to people, because people then will take advantage. And at the end of the day, this is your career, this is your business, this might be like your only source of income, so you need to make money as well. You know, you're providing a service and people need to pay you for that service. And definitely don't, like when you first start out, which is actually what I did, is kind of make leeway for certain situations, like, oh, this person is going through a really difficult time, so just allow them to skip classes and return when they want to. You know, I would love to do that, but sadly, like, I can't do that. I need to run the class, I need to make money, and I need to have these policies in place so that I can continue running classes, you know? So just make sure that you set a policy in place and that you follow that policy and that everybody follows that policy, especially friends, by the way, especially friends and family. You have no idea. Family, I love my family, but family wants free. People in your family will want to come to your classes for free, and fair enough, a few times, of course, but this is your job and you deserve to be paid for your job, right? So charge everyone. That sounds really bad, but you know what I mean. Just make sure you have your policies in place so that people follow it, and you know, and just to protect yourselves, basically. Now, do I recommend being a Pilates instructor? Oh my God, like 100% yes. It is such a lovely career. It's so rewarding. It makes me feel really happy knowing that I've helped someone out. Someone has been feeling unwell and then they feel so much better after coming to my classes. I get so many people telling me how much they've improved in their bodies coming to my classes, and people feel so much better, and that really is the reason to be a Pilates instructor. Just knowing that people are going to benefit from coming to your classes, people are going to enjoy coming to your classes, they're going to see that as a release from their like busy, stressful lives. And yeah, it makes me so happy, honestly, when I see that. It makes everything worth it, even when you're super tired. You know, sometimes you can't be bothered, right? Like, you're only human. Just because you're an instructor, fitness instructor, it doesn't make you superhuman. You're human as well. You have your bad days, your good days, But honestly, I often find that even when I'm having a bad day, in that moment when I'm teaching, I feel so much better. So for that reason alone, it is totally worth being a Pilates instructor. Also, if you like interacting with people and just working with people, and if you're a people's person, then it's also such a lovely career to have. So yeah, these are some of the things that I learned. Like I say, most of it was things that I learned after qualifying and just from teaching and my experiences as a teacher and just interacting with people. I had no experience in running a business before that, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I just sort of was like, okay, I'm gonna see how it goes and see what happens. Obviously I had people gave me advice, but I kind of just what did I do? I kind of it was trial and error and just experiencing things on my own and seeing how I got on. And yeah, it's been amazing. I have not looked back. I would never go back to a desk job again. I love how other people feel. I love how I feel. I love that my job is super active. I'm always on the go. I'm demonstrating, I'm exercising, and I'm keeping my body healthy as well as everyone else's. So yeah, those were my tips and just things to bear in mind before you become a Pilates instructor or before you take that leap and think, yes, I'm going to do this all in. Just bear those little points in mind. If you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, share this with a friend or someone. If you know someone that's about to go into their training, make sure they watch this video. Let me know if you'd like to see other videos like this, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Are you struggling to find good and affordable Pilates equipment? As seen in my videos, I recommend the best and cheapest product. A mat perfect for all levels, this magic circle amazing for toning and sculpting, and these weights again perfect for all levels and to make you get stronger. Scan the codes or click the link in the description below for the best deals.